Well, here we are.
Here we are.
We're on live now and we sound really good. Okay, Coach Chat 4. Today we're going to go over a few things performance anxiety related, starting with good and bad days. So, I guess how do we explain what a good or bad day is?
I guess it depends on how someone responds and what they deem a good and bad day.
Yeah.
From like myself as an athlete, it's a bit different. I don't really struggle anymore with bad days because I know they're inevitable. I know they're going to happen. It's more about me just understanding why it happened and how it's going to be better or what sort of made it happen in the first place. From a coaching point of view, I actually I struggle a bit sometimes to empathise with that because of who I am as an athlete and what I do myself. But I can explain things because I've been there before as well, which does make it easier.
Yeah, I have noticed that with the way that you deal with bad days, most athletes would struggle to take it on board as well as you do.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a learned behaviour though, hey?
Oh yeah, big time. Like I've been through some shit. I broke my arm, a number of different injuries, minor injuries, niggles. Like I know athletes that have minor niggles or injuries, and they think that derailed a whole prep or something.
Exactly. Or having one bad week where they don't quite get their days in order or something like that, and thinking that it's derailed them completely.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to just either explaining to an athlete why this might have happened, and then they learn kind of the process behind, like how they can kind of, I guess, be better for it in the long run.
Yeah. I guess going back a little bit, what would we, as an athlete, prioritise as a good day or think is a good day?
I guess when you're hitting PRs.
Yeah, that's a major one.
Yeah, any kind of PR, like ability PRs. When you come and you feel good, everything moves well.
Yeah.
Or even like a good day is one day where you're like, damn, I really could have PR today, but I'm glad I didn't, and I just kind of held it back.
Yeah.
And let myself sort of go through the motions, depending on where you are, obviously, in a macro cycle.
Yeah.
Where you are in training and what you have still to do in the future. But then, I guess you're gonna have bad days. It's like sometimes, was it worth not PRing on that day when I could have? And then you come in the next week and you feel like crap.
Yeah, you didn't take advantage of having that feeling on that good on that day. But one thing that you just said is a good day is an ability PR. And I think sometimes athletes don't acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And in my post the other night when I said, celebrate your wins and don't not nitpicking yourself. Like, I think a lot of the time, sometimes athletes just think a PR might be a number, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of like going, well, that fucking looks good or felt good. That felt way better than what it usually is, and giving themselves a pat on the back and acknowledging that symbolises a good day. What else would we say would be symbolising what good would be, other than PRing?
Just feeling good.
Yeah.
In general, it's this sport is monotonous. It's boring. We do the same thing all the time. You can get bored really, really fast.
Yeah.
But trying to just feel good and accept the fact that it's not going to be great all the time. We can't just linearly progress forever. As people will be picking up ridiculous amounts of weights, and they already are.
Yeah. So, bad days, not PRing, feeling like shit.
Yeah, leaving the gym like you've achieved nothing. Injuries.
Yep.
Niggles.
Feeling heavy is one.
Yeah, when things feel heavy, feel like you can't get into like a good position or something.
Yeah.
But you're not accounting for the fact that you spent 4 more hours in the car, or you've worked extra, you had to get up, you slept poorly. So many different things are going to account for why you've had a poor session or a bad day. But it's more I think athletes need to understand why it happened, and not just live in that kind of moment of feeling like shit while you're in the gym, and just kind of do what you can. Some days it's just about chalking up a day to, you know, we got the work done.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all that really matters.
Exactly.
That's how we're going to drive the progression.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, you know, I mean, using you as an example, last year when you hurt your leg, it would have been really easy for you to pack up and go, nah, I'm not going to do this, but you worked around it every week. And like, I remember on the first week, I think you hit like 100 kilos or something on the safety bar.
Yeah,
whereas
no,
so
I was
many
5
other,
weeks out.
and you were 5 weeks out, and so many people would have like packed up and gone, nah, fuck that, I'm out of here now, I'm pulling out of the comp.
Yeah, well, I obviously, that's me as an athlete. Like, I obviously had discussions there with Sean about me pulling out of that competition, and he actually suggested that I did that time, and I said, look, I can understand from a coaching point of view that maybe that might be a good decision, so we can, you know, look forward to something else and, you know, fix my leg and get everything sorted. But I said, respectfully, you know, you as an athlete, I'm sure you can respect my decision. I'm not gonna pull out of that meet. I'm gonna do that meet.
And you end up having the best meet of your life.
Yeah. I think I got through half as many squat sessions as I would have any other comp prep.
I think that's really like important to acknowledge as powerlifting, and we always bang on about how progress isn't linear. And I think one of the things people, I guess, with performance anxiety freak out about straight away is, oh my god, I'm getting weaker.
Yeah.
I didn't hit the numbers, I'm gonna get weaker. It's really hard to get weaker. You know, if you've built that, you know, someone like you with your squats and your bench and stuff, like what I've noticed with your training is if you've got a niggle or something, you know, it derails you for a couple of weeks, but you get right back up to where you were pretty damn quickly.
Yeah, well, I obviously just had that pec strain recently, and I'm already back to where I was, so I just had to take it easy for a week.
Yeah. Strength just doesn't drop off like that, you know, and I think that's really important for people to understand that you don't just automatically get weaker after not being able to bench your max 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's come with time though. Like I've obviously learned how to work around it, and I still got the right amount of work in while I'm injured. Through any injury, I still get the right amount of work in to kind of, you know, expose the muscle and get it somewhat moving the way that I want it to move. And then you know, just slowly, like that was the same. I benched 100 kilos for 10 sets of 5 like a few weeks ago, and I was in pain. Yeah.
I guess one of the things that you just said before that's really important for people to understand with dealing with bad days is why.
Yeah, why it happened.
Why. It doesn't just happen. There's usually a reason why it happens, and a lot of the time with powerlifting it's fatigue accumulation or something hasn't been right with, you know, working a lot, sitting a lot, driving a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's fatigue. External factors play a huge role. Like the day that, if we go back, like it's just so easy to use me as an example right now because I've been through everything. If we go back to my pec just recently, the day that it happened, I was moving houses.
Yeah, of course. And both times you've hurt yourself in the last year, it's been because you've had external stresses.
Yeah, like I've been under just a truckload of shit, feeling like crap outside of the gym. I haven't necessarily felt bad in the gym. Yeah. And then something's just flared up. So just me understanding that, it obviously takes time. It takes time for everyone to learn how to deal with it and why it happened.
Yeah, and for coaches to be able to reflect on what they may have set for their athlete at something might lead to a fatigue accumulation, and being able to look back on that and go, okay, I'll change this really quickly. Yeah. Instead of changing a whole program or rewriting a whole block.
Yeah. So sometimes, like if we have this acute fatigue that an athlete isn't dealing with well, it can be beneficial for us to just kind of strip that acute fatigue back that we know that we're trying to build in their system for a reason, but they can't, like, I guess, comprehend with it.
They don't quite understand.
Yeah, they're not happy with how they move on a particular day, and they, you know, start getting down in the dumps or are reflecting way too much on how they feel then rather than the fact that they're doing more the day before, which is going to have this obvious bleeding effect into the next day.
Yeah, and thinking that they're weaker or something like that because of that bleeding effect.
Yeah.
And reality is that it's not essentially a bad day, it's just a fatigue accumulation over a block.
Yeah, or even like through a microcycle, we're purposely sometimes adding acute fatigue in from one session to another. So if we squat, relatively heavy or do quite a bit of volume a day before our main deadlift day, like we're purposely carrying this acute fatigue into that next session. But sometimes an athlete struggles to understand that, and then they'll chalk it down to being,
I'm weak.
I forgot how to deadlift, I forgot how to do this, I just can't move well. And it's like, in reality, no, I'm doing this on purpose. So then when I strip back this volume or intensity the day before, you're going to feel better.
Yep, exactly. And I think a big one is the expectation that things are going to feel good all of the time.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not going to feel good all the time. You're going to feel tired because of outside factors. Sometimes you might be sick or whatever, but it doesn't mean that everything is ruined.
Yeah, no.
So I guess what we went over there was a little bit of reflection is a big one with dealing with bad days. Understanding your program is a good one with dealing with bad days, and understanding, that bad day, let's just say that bad day might be a Thursday every week, and you talk to your coach and say, every Thursday I feel like shit. Coach might say, well, because Wednesday I flogged you. Okay, it's not so much of a bad day anymore, I'm just like tired.
Yeah, and then, the external factors. I still think even if you know that a day is going to be bad performance-wise, don't buy into it and expect yourself to just come in feeling like shit, because you will.
Yes.
As an athlete, you'll come in feeling like shit. If you've bought into the fact that you know that you aren't supposed to feel well on a particular day because of the way that your program's laid out, you will. I believe that you should come into every single session and give 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the load on the bar's down, as long as you're lifting with the same amount of intent as you do on your primary day, no matter what day it is, you'll be able to yield even more results.
100%, and that's like the mental preparedness thing, being mentally prepared for each session. And you might have had a shit day at work, but letting that day at work bleed into your day in the gym is kind of self-defeating thoughts before it even happens. Do we have any other tips on how to deal with bad days? Do you talk about it? Like, do you talk about like, oh no, I know you're go away and sit and play with your dog.
I'll deal with it myself.
Yeah.
I don't really need to express that I'm feeling bad or that I've had a bad day. I kind of just get used to it. I've gotten used to it over time, and I just accept it. And I know what I have done in the past will be more than what that bad day is, or a low performing day. So I've generally just been like, something's bleeding into today, should be fine in a week or so.
Yep.
I just have to account for the reason why. So for me, it's predominantly like my deadlifts. They don't particularly feel well all the time, but that's because I squat so much fucking weight.
Yeah.
So I know that they taper really, really well.
Yeah.
And that just took time for me to understand that my deadlift's just going to be something that's going to show up kind of on meet day. I'm going to be able to lift more than what I really have done in the gym. But it took me a while to understand that. So we, from a program point of view, we obviously switched a few things around so I had a bit more rest and could express more strength in my training, just for mentally be more okay with the way that it was feeling in training.
Yeah. Do you think it's helped you understand all that more, given that you're a coach and you help other people through that?
Yeah, so it obviously, it's kind of like, I guess it's helped me more the other way around, being an athlete into a coach. I can
understand as a
I can understand what someone's going through because I've been through it all. Just makes it easy to explain what's going on because I've dealt with all of it really. And then being able to, I guess, empathize. Even though I said it's hard for me to empathise through different things with different athletes. I can explain like from a programming point of view or something, but if like someone kind of keeps going when I'm trying to explain everything, I'm kind of like I got nothing left.
Yeah.
To kind of say, but but eventually we get used to it. Once you've explained it, an athlete's going to sort of be able to understand that they should not, I guess, feel good on a particular day. But that's not always going to happen. If it does happen, and I keep seeing this trend of, you know, they're feeling bad, but they're not just feeling bad, like saying it.
I feel shit.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, they're coming into this session now and they're not kind of accepting that. I've got to make some kind of adjustment for them to, you know, feel better on that day.
Adjustment on the program or adjustment with communication?
On the program.
Yeah.
Because they're communicating, if they're communicating so much to me that they just feel terrible on this day.
Yeah.
And
there's something wrong with the program.
Well, not something wrong. It's probably doing what I want it to do, but they're not accepting it and they want to feel strong on that day. So I've got to dial back on preceding days to just make it happen.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to get...
Yeah, otherwise it'll just be a downward spiral and they're going to start getting bummed about training in general and they're going to get this mental fatigue and it'll just be far too much and they'll just start hating training, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask something else, but I've completely forgotten. Do we have any tips for those athletes who aren't coaches on how they could deal with bad days? You know that you need space, and as a coach, you know that you need to empathise a little bit. But what about the guys who aren't necessarily coaches? I guess it's more of the reflecting thing. Reflecting,
communicating with your coach.
Yeah.
They should be able to come up with an answer, and if not an answer, they should be able to talk through it.
The coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the coach can't, then you need to figure out why.
Yeah, and then probably also just understanding that it's all a part of a bigger picture. You know, bad days are bound to happen. They happen in life just as much as they happen in training.
Yeah.
You just need to find a way to kind of deal with it in your way, whether that be through talking to someone about it. It could be a coach, could be a close friend, partner, or anything, or whether you're like me, who just needs to get away from everyone and deal with it themselves, or you know, just finding what works for you.
Yeah, definitely finding what works for you. Writing things down, maybe taking notes.
Yeah, you can take notes and be like, you know, I feel bad on this day. If you're writing this down, that means you can reflect on it the next week before you go into training. If you feel bad on a particular day, but you've communicated also with your coach why you feel bad, they've communicated back in a way that makes it more understanding and they can give you a reason behind it. You can then take note of that, and then when you go into the next week of training, try and see if what they say works. So if they say, you know, maybe we pushed this day a little bit too hard, so now this day feels poor. You dial back on that day that you pushed a bit harder because you felt really good on that day, because bad days always come after good days. It's not really the other way around, because if you feel bad one day, you're obviously you've had to dial back. If you stick to what your program, I guess, RPEs are, you would have had to dial back in low, and you're going to get more recovered, then you're going to have a good day after that bad day. But then if you go too good on that good day, you're just going to bleed into another bad day, and then you just create this vicious cycle of not knowing when you want to feel good or when you're supposed to feel good.
Totally. Well, I think we just pretty much answered the number 2 point of dealing with failure as well, because I guess bad days can kind of feel like failure.
Yeah, I guess dealing with failure in terms of missing something is... It is what it is.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's a sport where you need to hit a lift, or there's a 1RM, or you're going for attempts.
Yeah.
You're going to miss it.
Yeah, you're either going to miss it or you're going to get it. Depends how much you've kind of loaded on the bar, I suppose. And, you know, if you've loaded too much on the bar, I believe that a lot of people will miss something due to a lack of confidence. If you're questioning how much you put on the bar already, then you've already missed.
Especially at competition.
Yeah. Don't question it. Just go out and do it.
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things that I've learnt from you over the last year is expect to hit what you hit on the platform, what you hit in training.
Yeah.
There's very little athletes that can actually hit major PRs.
Yeah, unless like this taper's like remarkable and you know they don't get in their head about anything like that.
Yeah.
Just you have this day that's now got so many different variables in front of you. You now have 3 refs that you're waiting for that you need to wait before you can get a command on a lift. You also have them judging the way that you lift.
Yeah.
You have a different sort of time limit before you get to do each lift.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come in, unless it's like a big competition where you need to hit like a 2.5 to 5 kilo all-time PR to be in the running to win this competition. If you go out and just hit a nice solid day that you've just like kind of matched your training PRs, it's going to be a total PR if you've had a good peak, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to take into consideration for athletes, because that's bringing the intensity to training.
Yeah.
You're not expecting the intensity to happen on the platform.
Yeah.
You know, and making sure that you're hitting numbers in training that will reflect your performance on the platform, and you're doing it with calls, and you're making sure that you're, you know, essentially crossing, you know, dotting your I's and crossing your T's when it comes to calls and, you know, touching on bench and stuff like that. That sets you up for not failing.
Yeah, well, we should always kind of be training to a standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why not?
Exactly. It's pretty it's like with powerlifting, it's pretty easy to train to comp standard, really.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a sport with contact and you don't know what the other team's going to play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's pretty easy to hit the calls in training.
Yeah, it's not hard to ask someone for a press call.
Nah. If you're in a powerlifting gym and you're worried about asking someone for a press call, you may as well go back to a commercial gym, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so dealing with failure, I guess that's what we just said before. Like, talk to someone, write it down, reflect on why, understand why is a big one. Like, give yourself a break. You know, if you work a busy job and you've had a really stressful week and you come in on Friday and you don't hit your numbers, it's probably you haven't gotten weaker. You probably just had a really stressful week.
Yeah. And
understanding that, and especially if you're carrying niggles, is a big one. Understanding that powerlifting, it's pretty hard to hurt yourself.
Severely.
Yeah, it's really hard to hurt yourself in powerlifting, and if you're picking up niggles and stuff like that, it's usually because outside factors are bleeding into your training somehow.
Yeah.
You know, so understanding all those things will help you deal with failure. If you're going through a really like exam period at uni and you're expecting to PR, you know, going to a meet in the middle of exam period, it's going to be harder. You know, very little times do we get these perfect preps where, you know, nothing's involved and, you know, all our relationships are great and, you know, like that doesn't really happen. Life's in the way. Unfortunately, that's what happens with powerlifting. So just understanding those things is what's really important.
Yeah, a bit more accepting of bad days, I think.
Yeah.
They're just going to roll.
They happen.
Yeah, they happen.
They happen at work, they happen at training, they happen with your partner all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top set nerves.
Yeah. It's going to be a bit hard for me to answer.
Yeah, it's hard for you to answer, hey?
I
That's
generally
self-talk.
Yeah, for me it's just like I'm not going to load something unless I'm really confident in it.
Yeah.
Or I've like thought about it for like a whole week and been like I'm going to hit this.
Yeah.
But I think you're only getting nerves really if you've never hit a low before, in my opinion. Or
yeah.
I am. But this is where I said it's hard for me to empathise with people because I don't understand some things. I don't, I guess, understand where people get top set nerves from because I don't get it myself. I'm kind of just like, let's go.
What about with your deadlifts? Because you do have a little bit of a history of dropping them.
I'll fix that now, so...
Did you used to get nervous at all that you'd drop it? Or?
No, I never actually thought I was going to drop it, ever.
Yep.
I always knew I was strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
And then, it just kind of rolled out of my hand.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, this is ridiculous. I don't even know why this is happening. And now that we've sorted it,
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, my deadlifts are going really, really well.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to top set nerves, as Steve said before, confidence is a really good one, and I know that you gas yourself up a lot.
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to the self-talk thing, I don't know. I know how I work with self-talk, and I'm quite black and white with it. It's kind of like getting that negative, doubt out of your head and go, no, I know I can do this.
Yeah.
Basically
100%.
saying to that part of your head, shut up, Some people with programming, I know this works really well with some females, is having ascending singles. That works quite well to help them to, I guess, lean into the top set.
Yeah, so it's funny, I do it myself as well. Like I'll program ascending singles in a way to make someone, or ramping singles in a way to make someone kind of feel a load before they hit a load. But the thing is, they would have done the same in their warm-ups.
Yeah.
It's
it's just on paper now, so it's easier.
Yeah, so that's another thing. It's just, it just comes down to confidence. So you build that confidence. If you program someone, single at 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But really all you wanted was a single at 8.
Yeah.
You could have just gone 1 by 1 at 8 because that's essentially what they would have hit anyway. But now that they see it there, from like a coaching point of view or a program point of view, that's a way that you can get kind of around it.
Yeah.
In a way, or someone that's gonna, they get so nervous about a load, is just by putting it on paper for them.
Yeah, I know I'm like this because of being a high achiever. It's just putting pressure on yourself to be better than what you were, but that pressure comes across in your own mind as quite negative, and not enjoying the process of actually getting better at what you do as a coach or better at what you do as an athlete or something like that. Because essentially when you go and you hit that top load, if that top load was more than you hit the previous week and it's a PR, you're essentially getting better.
Yeah.
So acknowledging that process is happening in a positive way, not a negative way, would really help, and being excited to hit it.
Yeah.
Like when you hit that, when you got midway up in that 300, that, for someone like you, that's a fucking huge number.
Yeah.
It
is, actually.
So like, when you were setting yourself up for that, were you just like, tell me what was going through your mind?
For me, it's basically, I think I've said this before. All I said to myself was like, don't stop.
Don't stop.
Just don't
just
stop.
Fucking go.
If that weight's not pushing you down, then you're gonna stand up with it. That's literally all that was going through my head. Is the only way that you're gonna miss this is if you get crushed or if it starts pushing you back down.
Yep.
And that's all I said was just don't stop. And then I just was like, well, how bad do you want? Like let's go.
Yeah, I guess that's all you can say. Like, powerlifting's pretty easy. You're either gonna get crushed or you're gonna stand up with it.
Yeah, for me, like it's kind of like if we think about squatting, you can misgroove something, but you can, if you don't stop after, like you can recover and just keep going.
Yeah.
Just don't stop.
Just don't stop.
Keep going.
Do you think that like some lifters might put emphasis on a certain day? Like, let's just say that they have an SBD Saturday. And let's just say that every Saturday they get really nervous. From a coaching perspective, would you change their SBD Saturday to an SBD Thursday so they didn't get so wound up about it all the time? Or would you...
It depends if it's... So, like, what are they getting nervous about, sort of thing?
It's reflective of comp day. They have to, feeling like they're going in and they have to be perfect. And everything has to feel perfect. Do you know what I mean?
No, I feel like someone would just end up taking that same kind of mindset into a Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'd probably change a few different things around before I just change the whole day of an SBD day.
Yeah, like having the ramping singles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and spreading it out a little bit more.
Oh, hey guys, we just realised that this cut out. Oh.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey guys, sorry the video cut out. If you want to go listen to the rest of the podcast, just head on over to Spotify and
Apple.
Apple. Thank you.